But a man that doesn't need any work is the five-time former WCW Tag Champion. On the line, guys, we've got Mr. Buff Bagwell. Buff, how you doing?
Hey, what's up? What's going on?
How's it going, Buff?
Doing good, man. I actually had a show last night up in Knoxville, which is kind of strange for a Tuesday, but had a show in Knoxville, and then just kind of recouped today, just out of my saltwater swimming pool. Woo! It's tough life. No, I've been hitting it real hard, man. You can check out my website. I've really got my website going good, and I've been doing nothing but rest. I've got my new volumes out. You know, volume 1, 2, and 3 are out on my website, the Real Buff Inc. and realbuff.com. And just getting that really, you know, done right, and just doing it right. One last time. I'm 39 years old now, you know, and I'm just doing it right one more time, and just get one more run at this thing.
So you're looking to make one more big run. Are you eyeing TNA or WWE? Where are you headed?
I would enjoy to work. I think for TNA, I would not. I don't make the WWE and me mix. I just don't. None of my friends are there, and that's just not my clique, you know. And it's just all the main guys there were never my clique, and the TNA guys are my clique, and I can't get them to call me. Back. So. You know, it's the problem that TNA finds herself in with me is that they know they're going to pay me a pretty good bit of money because I can go out and do this independently like I'm doing right now. And is it worth bringing Buff Bagwell in at so-and-so figure, you know, to take away his bookings for him to say yes to, you know? And they're going to, I'm booked 10 times a month, you know, so... Mm-hmm. That's pretty hard to do. I mean, those TNA boys, God bless them, but they're not booked 10 times a month. And it's just because I happened to be on TV when, you know, wrestling was popular and timing's everything and lucky, and you can do all the nice words you want to say, but the bottom line is them TNA boys usually won't draw you a dime, and the WCW guys will, you know.
Well, would you consider taking a pay cut so you can get back into that limelight, and then maybe?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I've even offered them through the grapevine, never one-on-one personally with me and Panda Productions or me and Jeff or anybody of any power, but I have passed it through the right grapevine. That I would actually come down, and I have passed this to Vince properly and got no response. And that was, I will come in and work for a month. You ain't got to pay me. Just pay for my flight there, my hotel, and don't pay me for a month. At the end of that month, if you like what you see, hire me. If you don't, let me go. But do me a favor and do one or the other. You know? Let's just quit talking about it. Either let's put me on TV and make 10,000 people that email me a month quit asking me, why ain't you at TNA? Why ain't you at WWE? And so either create me a better lie or hire me.
Go ahead. Can you speak on your first run with the WWE? Because it was kind of abrupt. Weren't you one of the first guys to be brought out?
It's horrible, dude. Horrible timing. I had the best timing in the world for 11 years, and then all of a sudden, my contract comes due when an 11-year-old company gets bought out, and that's WCW. So my contract came up 2 months after Vince bought it, and I was like, oh my God. So what we did is having heat, and with the internet and all the heat I had, which none of it was really true, and even if some of it was true, let's say 30% was true. Regardless, it wasn't enough to keep me out of a company. If somebody really got to meet me and see how professional I was and get to really meet Mark Bagwell, it wasn't true. But 30% of it probably was over things that just were happening and blah, blah, blah. But Vince just never gave me that chance, you know. It was just a bad timing. So what we did is instead of sitting home and making 2 months' worth of pay, which was $80,000 for me back then, I give Vince my $80,000, which, once again, all these kind of good things that Bagwell does don't get talked about. But I give Vince $80,000, or saved him $80,000, let's say, and went to work to show him, hey, man, I'm here to work. I'm here to be a team player. Let's do this thing. So I could have sat at home like everybody else did, but I gave him $80,000 and said, let's make this thing right. So I hopped on board, and that's kind of what Booker did, and that's kind of what Dallas did, and the rest of the guys were kind of new guys. And it just didn't work. You know, me and Booker were the first match, and the very next week was Atlanta. We knew something was up the day we got booked in Tacoma, Washington. We're like, our only main event on Raw, period, much less in Seattle, Washington. You know, so we knew something was up, and to this day, I'm not sure if it was maliciously done or not, but y'all figure it out. 7 days from the first match of the Invasion, which was me and Booker T, 7 days from that was Atlanta, Georgia. And if you had just bought Ted Turner's company, where would you do the Invasion? Seattle, Washington, or Atlanta, Georgia?
Yeah,
I'm doing Atlanta, Georgia, you know, so we just knew something was up. We were like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So I wrestled in Seattle, Washington, and got fired in Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow. So there was no truth to the reports about the whole backstage attitude and the Hurricane Helms thing and all that.
Oh, the Helms thing's true. I slapped him at a tryout, and he hit me in the back of the head with an ice bottle. That was just two boys. I mean, how many fights have you seen backstage? I mean, I want there to be a reason I got fired. It would make it a whole lot easier on me. But let me tell you and everybody listening that I went in there with walking on eggshells and shaking hands and, you know, hey, man, what's going on, and professional, and anything I could do, staying to the end. And Booker T got the first heat. He left early. And, buddy, you didn't leave early on their shows. You stayed to the end. And there's top talent sitting around the monitor watching and clapping and stuff, you know. So it's a team effort up there, and I dig that. So Booker leaves the very first day after getting the little push with stunning Steve Austin. He misses the table with Steve Austin and then leaves early. So all the heat went to Booker, and I went, all right. Heat's off me. All right, okay. Well, then me and Helms get in a fight, and I smack him. He bottles me in the back of the head, and all the wrestlers came up with a great idea saying, hey, let's just don't talk about it. It'll go away. I go, guys, half of y'all have already told somebody. I said, so come on, man. Let's just no. So they convinced me to lie about it. Helms does. He's scared for his job. Everybody's scared for there's 12 WCW guys scared to death for their job, except me. I'm definitely a shoe-in. Everybody knows I'm a shoe-in. Well, the next day after hitting Helms walked by me with the Hardy Boys and didn't speak to me. And I went, uh-oh. So I went straight to, this ain't my first rodeo either, so I went straight to Johnny Ace. I said, Johnny, I need to talk to you, bro. And so he pulled him aside, and I said, here's what happened. I told him the whole truth. And so I said, here, I smacked him, and he hit me with an ice bottle, and that was all it was. And so we got all 12 guys together. Johnny Laurinaitis got all 12 guys together and said, listen, guys, my job relies on whether you guys make it or not. I'm on thin ice here, too. And Fifth Family was sitting there also. This one we were all digging for a job. But it depended on whether or not these 12 guys got over right here, you know, and did something. Well, me and Booker T go out the very first match and trip and stumble over each other and get booed out of the building, and that didn't help things. But none of those one topics is enough to fire a Buff Bagwell, except for what I think he did it for, and that was to get the locker room calmed down. Because what it did, when Buff Bagwell got fired in Atlanta, Georgia, it straightened up the locker room like that. There was no more arguing, no more, because they just fired Buff Bagwell. If they'll fire Buff Bagwell in Atlanta, Georgia, at Phillips Arena, they will fire anybody. And I think that's what it set out. And it was, once again, I was a sacrificial lamb, and I hope it helped. But they let me go in Atlanta.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
How's life been for you post WWE, you know, on the indie circuit? I've seen that you enjoy interacting with the crowd, which you really can't do, especially WWE. They don't let you get too close to the fans.